I'm Lawrence Wilkerson, retired United States Army colonel, former special assistant to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Colin Powell, and later chief of staff at the State Department when he was Secretary of State. 31 years in the military and roughly half a century in service of my country. A country I don't recognize anymore. A country that is so rapidly going downhill that I would say at 81 that I might live to see its collapse. That's not a real powerful thought in my head at these moments, but it is nonetheless a sad one that I harbor. And I am thunderstruck at how complacent the American people are, 350 million of us now, to this happening. And one of the significant symptoms, indicators, call it what you will, of its happening, is the fact that we are spending $2+ trillion every year on the national security instrument, 1 trillion of which is now going to the five-sided building, the Pentagon. And I brought this just so I could rehearse it for you. Much of that money is going to Kathy Warden, CEO of Northrop Grumman, last year, $24.36 million. That's not counting stock options, that's just pay. Christopher T. Callio at Raytheon, or RTX, whatever they're calling themselves nowadays, having been incorporated into the giant Lockheed Martin, $18 million. Phoebe N. Novakovic, General Dynamics, $23.79 million. And James Donald Tackley Jr. at Lockheed Martin, the giant of them all, $23.75 million. Factor in stock options and such as that, which drives up their own stock price, of course, and makes their shareholders even more money. And I'd say they probably take home every year a cool 50 million or so. This is where your money's going. This is where American taxpayer money is going, besides to that homicidal, maniacal state at the eastern end of the Mediterranean called Israel. This is really dangerous in and of itself, not to mention the other things that are happening. Let me tell you why it's physically dangerous. We are paying now, largely because of our expenditures on security, $1 trillion in interest payments on our already staggering national debt, which is now beyond our GDP. That's the recipe for fiscal collapse. In 10 years, by this Congressional Budget Office's own calculations, and they are usually low, we'll be paying $2 trillion interest payments on the debt. That means that all federal discretionary spending will be absorbed by interest payments on the debt and fixed costs like Medicare, Medicaid, and so forth, good programs. We are headed for not a shipwreck, we're headed for a Titanic iceberg collision. And a lot of the reason is this absolutely unnecessary expenditure on the Pentagon. You could take $100 billion a year for 10 years from that budget, constituting $1 trillion in itself, and spend it somewhere else, and it would not impact our national security one tiny jot. In fact, it would probably improve it. It would get rid of some of the fat that has built up since Colin Powell was chairman of the Joint Chiefs in particular, but really since 9/11. So that's my spiel. Please spread the word. Please listen to what Ben has to say and others. We're headed for an iceberg, and we're going to sink. Thank you.
My name is Josephine Guilbeau. I'm a 17-year Army veteran and a former intelligence officer. It wasn't so long ago that I myself identified as a Republican and supported that party because of the Department of Defense budget that I believed we needed in order to protect this country. It was only after October 7th did I realize what war truly is after witnessing the genocide inside of Gaza that we are funding with our tax dollars, with our bombs. So I started educating myself more about the reality of what the Department of Defense, now called the Department of War, actually is, only to learn that this machine, this war machine that exists inside of our country is not to protect American citizens, but to wage war, colonization, imperialism, resource theft, and to make the rich richer. So today I stand before you to challenge this long-standing assumption that pouring billions of dollars into the Department of War automatically ensures the safety of American people. It does not. And history, logic, and our current reality prove that. Let's be clear, national security is essential. Every nation has a right to make sure its citizens are safe. But when we equate military spending with our safety, we make a dangerous mistake. Because the truth is, more weapons does not mean more peace, does not mean more safety. And a larger military budget does not mean fewer threats. The United States spends more on its military than the next 10 countries combined. Every year, hundreds of billions of dollars go to advanced fighter jets, nuclear weapons, overseas bases, yet do we feel safe? Are we healthier, more united, or less vulnerable to threats? The threats we face today are not solved with bombs and tanks. Look no further than what Americans are funding now in Gaza, a genocide of children. America requires investment in our infrastructure, education, healthcare, and diplomacy with our brothers and sisters across the world. Yet those are the very areas underfunded while the Department of War's budget sails through Congress with little debate from both the Democrats and the Republicans. We are told this spending keeps us safe, but in reality, it often keeps defense contractors profitable, keeps us entangled in endless wars where our brothers and sisters go to die, and keeps us distracted from the root causes of insecurity, poverty, inequality, environmental degradation, and political division. Safety is not just the absence of war, it's the presence of justice, opportunity, and resilience. If we want true security for America, true safety for America, we must rethink our priorities. We must ask, what if we use this money to fund schools? What if we use this money for healthcare? What if we build peace with the same urgency that we prepare for conflict? It is not unpatriotic to question military spending. It is our responsibility. It is democratic and it is patriotic to question the funding that we have right now being spent on forever wars. And it is essential if we truly want a safer, stronger, and more united America. I want you to think about what you can do. Join a local group. Myself, I'm with Veterans for Peace. Veterans for Peace accepts both veterans and allies. I'm also an associate director at Eisenhower Media Network. Feel free to reach out to Eisenhower to find out how can you get involved. We need all of America, from the left to the right, to unite against the trajectory that this empire is headed. Because the reality is, this empire is falling. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Thank you all for coming out. You know, right now, as we're talking, Congress is arguing about government funding. But nobody's talking about the biggest budget buster of all, the Department of War. The budget bill cut health care, they cut food for hungry families, they cut housing. But the Department of War never touched it. Instead, they shoved another $150 billion at it, so that now about 70% of our country's expendable income goes to war. It's not about defending our country. What should be a last resort has become the normalized go-to tool of our foreign policy. That's why we have forever wars. Our country is either at war, recovering from war, preparing for war, but never paying for war. We just add it to the national debt for our kids to pay. What a stupid way for the richest country in the world to engage with the rest of the world. What a waste of money. What a waste of lives, of human spirit. And leaving people injured that we have to take care of for the rest of their lives. But it's why James over there, the CEO of Lockheed Martin, gets a salary of $23 million a year, while John Q., typical taxpayer over there, is broke. And now, you know, Elon, he once came to Washington, promising to take on Pentagon waste. He tweeted about the failed audits, about the $1 trillion fighter jet program, and the jets don't work. But what did he do? Bupkis. So today, I'm here to finish the job. I'm launching D.O.P.E, the Department of Pentagon Excess. And I'm calling on Congress and the American people to help slash the waste that enriches war profiteers and instead invest in the American dream to make it easier for people to buy a house and not go bankrupt when they get a medical bill, and where there's good schools and affordable child care for every kid. And we can do it. We are the richest country in the history of the world. There's a lot of countries that are a lot poorer than us that are providing that stuff for their people. So now I'm going to go over to that Pentagon and do what needs to be done. Well, sitting on my thing. All right, I'm getting ready. It's going to be a huge slice here, but wait! There's all this crap in front of the cannon barn. There's so much stuff, it's falling out of the windows. What's this? Ah, it's a soap dispenser that, you know, you might pay 25 bucks for. The Pentagon pays $2,500 for it. Ah, what's this? Oh, it's a coffee cup. You pay $5 for it. The Pentagon pays $1,300 for it. What's this? Oh, we know what this is. Toilet seat. What is it? 50 bucks at Home Depot. The Pentagon pays $10,000. And what's this last thing hanging out of the Pentagon? Whoa! It's a holy golden dome. Nice idea, but it's got a lot of holes in it. Doesn't really protect anybody from anything, and it costs $175 billion. But that's not the best part, or that's not the worst part. I mean, you know, the Pentagon is planning to spend $2 trillion on a whole new generation of nuclear weapons when we can already blow up the entire world 10 times over. So I'm going to slice that out. It's going to take some heavy equipment. Place. Yeah, where was I? Yeah.
I'm so bored. I'm just a veteran.
So, you know, this isn't monopoly money. It's your money. Each year, we could return just about $2,000 to every single taxpayer in America, just by cutting Pentagon waste. That's enough to make housing affordable, It's enough to guarantee quality public education. It's enough to ensure everyone has health care. Or Congress could just send it back to put it in your pocket instead of stuffing the pockets of war profiteers like him. Thanks a lot for coming. We're here for questions. Yes, sir.
Can you tell us a little bit about the money? I take it that's not real money, the money that came out of the Pentagon?
These are amazing dope bucks. So there's a beautiful picture of Eisenhower here in horrible pain. And it's actually $1,882 that represents 30% of the Department of War budget. And it's an original art. It's a thing of beauty, and there's collector's items scattered around the floor here.
Do you have any concerns about the use of the military on American soil right now?
I have huge concerns about that. It's a militarized police force. It's loyal, to Trump? That's not the America that I grew up in. You've got these ICE guys that are going around in masks out of unmarked cars, snatching people off the street. It's not what America is supposed to be about. I mean, what I heard was, that sort of stuff, that's done in those countries way over there that are run by authoritarian regimes that are monsters, and now the monster is us.
I know Jerry resigned from the position with
yeah.
Ben and Jerry's, and I was wondering about your sort of different approaches to activism in this moment.
Yeah, we're both very active on a bunch of issues. Different people have different levels of tolerance for conflict. Jerry has a really, really big heart, and it was just really difficult for him to be in this conflict situation where he was an employee, technically, of Unilever, and he was there trying to do something that Unilever doesn't want done. So he resigned, but in terms of the campaign to free Ben and Jerry's, we're both all in.